Hold on, I gotta wait for our producer. Oh, you're like a TV director. Nicely done. I like that. Welcome to the January 7th, 2025 Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clavin.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella.
Here.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Here.
Councilman Schneider.
Here. Councilman Schneider, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before you sit, if we could have a moment of silence in memory of our 39th president, Jimmy Carter, who passed away, and I believe the ceremonies are today. Thank you all very much. Amen. All right. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the first public hearing.
Yes, so on the first public hearing, we have the petition of the Commissioner of Buildings to demolish and remove all the three-story masonry frame apartment building and remove all litter and debris from the property located in Elmont.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips in this item. Anybody in the public that wishes to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Belmore, Franklin Square, and West Hempstead.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips in this item. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board approve this item. I second that motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Uniondale.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips in this item. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the motion and ask the board to approve.
I second that motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Franklin Square, Levittown, Lido Beach, Merrick, Seaford, and Uniondale.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips in this item. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item. I second the item.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in Uniondale.
All right. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips. Anybody in the public wish to be heard did not sign in on this matter? If not, may I please have a motion?
Oh, number 5. I'm lost. Okay. Number 5 is, I put it here. Where did I do with it? Oh, I moved the public hearing to be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Baldwin, Belmore, East Meadow, Elmont, Franklin Square, Uniondale, and near Valley Stream.
Okay. Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips in this matter. Any member of the public wish to be heard in this matter? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Need a second?
Second motion.
All right.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
And Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, and before we do, let me let the record reflect that our receiver of taxes, Janine Driscoll, is present. We have a proposed local law regarding waterway structure fees.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? Do not have any slips in this matter. Anybody else wish to be heard? Did not sign in? If not, can I have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board consider the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
And we have a proposed increase and improvement of the Woodmere Hewlett Parking District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on this matter. Anybody wish to be heard? Did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have the application of Fieldstone at Oceanside LLC to rezone a parcel of land from Residence B District to CA Residence District located at 2860 Brower Avenue in Oceanside.
Okay, Counselor, I'm going to ask you to identify yourself for the record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. My name is Daniel Baker from Greenberg Traurig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. Again, good morning and Happy New Year to all.
Thank you.
I'm appearing today on behalf of the applicant, Fieldstone at Oceanside LLC, seeking a change of zone for the property located at 2860 Brower Avenue in Oceanside from a Residence B District to Residence CA. I'm joined today by representatives of the applicant, including Chris Voorhees from Nelson and Pope. He's the site civil engineer. Wayne Muller from Robinson and Muller Engineering, our traffic expert. And Barry Nelson, our real estate expert. We also have representatives from the applicant and the architect if we need to address any questions with them. The applicant is seeking the zone change to construct 6 two-story for-sale townhouse condominiums containing a total of 59 units, which include 14 three-bedroom units and 49 two-bedroom units. The subject premises, located at 2860 Brower Avenue, is currently used as the Oceanside Jewish Center. It's known on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map as Section 54, Block 263, Lots 11, 40, 41, 74, 99, 100, 321, and 327. The premises is a 3.9-acre parcel situated between Brower Avenue and Oceanside Road, just south of that intersection of the two streets. It has 300 or approximately 375 feet of frontage on Brower and approximately 264 feet fronting on Oceanside Road. Currently improved with a 2-story synagogue constructed in or around 1953, utilizing institutional-style brick, stone, and metal design, along with 2 single-family homes built in the early 1970s. All of these structures have been unimproved for years and are not in the greatest condition. Surrounding properties have a mix of uses. To the west, across Oceanside Road, to the south of the premises, and to the north along Oceanside Road are single-family homes. To the north of the premises along Brower Avenue is a retail strip center, and to the east across Brower Avenue is a townhouse condominium development, very similar in nature to the proposed development, although much older. As stated earlier, the applicant proposes to construct 59 for-sale residential units to replace the existing temple. As we sadly know, synagogues are experiencing a significant decline in membership, leading to mergers and closures. The applicant believes that the proposed development would be the right fit to replace OJC with much-needed high-end for-sale townhomes. The history of the project, which started approximately 2.5 years ago, initially had the applicant proposing a project of 90 Golden Age rental units. After obtaining community input, that number was reduced to 72. After further input from the community, it was then decreased to 61 units, but switched to for sale rather than rental. Finally, after having a last open community meeting in this past June at the temple property, the applicant further reduced the unit count to 59. This was due in part to the creation of a second access point on Brower, Originally, the plan was to have one means of ingress and egress on Oceanside Road, but after listening to community neighbors and their input, it was decided that a second access point would be added to Brower. While doing so, this decreased the unit count to the current 59. Other than today's request for a zone change, the project does not require any other variances from the Town Board of Appeals. Parking requirements under the building zone ordinance are met, as are all required setbacks, height, and lot coverage. Mr. Mueller will later testify that traffic will be minimally impacted and would even be an improvement compared to the property operating at peak levels as a religious use. As Mr. Voorhees will testify soon, the plans provide for site improvements including green spaces, perimeter fencing, and other improvements to the current property. Since the units will be for sale, the applicant will not be seeking IDA benefits, so that the project is expected to produce approximately $800,000 in new taxes when completed. Of course, this property is currently producing no taxes as it is exempt as a religious use. The proposed application will provide much-needed housing stock with an up-to-date style that will fit this community. The granting of the zone change will not adversely impact the health, safety, and welfare of the community or town. Rather, it will complement the existing neighborhood while providing townhouses for people looking to downsize or start a family in the Oceanside community. With that, I might have some more to say later on, but I'd like to call Chris Voorhees to give you a run through the site. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. For the record, my name is Christopher Voorhees. I'm a professional engineer with Nelson & Pope, located at 70 Maxis Road, Melville, New York. I'd like to briefly describe the site plan in front of you. The proposed development, as described, features two site entrances, one on the east and one on the west side of the site. The west side entrance is aligned with the signalized intersection of Bellevue Avenue and Oceanside Road. This aligns with the existing site entrance. The second site entrance is on the east side, allowing for vehicular access to Brower Avenue. Both site entrances have been designed to feature restricted vehicle access. The proposed development meets the required parking and provides 4 parking stalls for every 3 units and 1 additional stall for every proposed unit. Parking is provided within the proposed residential units, within garages, driveways, and off-street parking areas. Fire emergency considerations have been made in the proposed site plan configuration. The site improvements include installation of 2 on-site fire hydrants to allow for emergency responders to have several available setup locations. The site includes masonry refuse enclosures that will provide containment and screening for the trash facilities. The internal site access roadway has been designed to accommodate the internal circulation for residents, refuse collection, and these emergency vehicles. The required shade trees are going to be proposed to be along the internal site access roadway between various site driveways. The site improvements provide for a 20-foot building setback, which allows for the existing perimeter tree vegetation to be protected and preserved, those existing shade trees and the site screening. In addition to the tree preservation and required shade trees, the full site development plans will include a robust landscape plan that takes further consideration to the aesthetics of the proposed development and the screening privacy of the adjacent neighbors. I'd like to turn it over to the rest of the team for more remarks.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Mueller will speak next.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Wayne Mueller. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New York. I'm a principal of the firm of Robinson and Mueller Engineering. Our offices are at 50 Elm Street in Huntington, New York. And as Mr. Baker has indicated, I'm here today to discuss the potential traffic impact of the proposed project on the surrounding roadway network. Our firm has prepared a traffic impact study, which was last revised October 2024, which was submitted to the board prior to the public hearing. As indicated by Mr. Voorhees and described by Mr. Baker, it is proposed to construct 59 residential dwelling units on the subject property that currently contains a scaled-down version of the Oceanside Jewish Center. The plans indicate that in accordance with the Town of Hempstead Building Zone Ordinance off-street parking requirements, 138 parking spaces are required for the 59 dwelling units, and 139 parking spaces are provided. So therefore, the subject development provides parking greater than what is required by the building zone ordinance. So therefore, a parking variance will not be required for the development from the Town of Hempstead Board of Zoning Appeals. As Mr. Voorhees indicated, and based on public comment, access to the property will be provided via two driveways. The first driveway is located on Brower Avenue, on Brower, which is located in the northeast corner of the property. It will be configured to allow both entering and exiting vehicles. The existing driveway, which is currently gated, located on Oceanside Road opposite Bellevue Avenue, will be ungated and allow traffic to freely use that access driveway. That driveway is located at an existing Nassau County traffic signal, and the signal will be modified to include the proper detection to allow the vehicles to enter and exit the site safely. To briefly summarize the results contained in the traffic impact study that we prepared, which was prepared in accordance with recognized standards and procedures. Based on the analyses that we performed, it is my professional opinion that the construction of this project is a net positive impact on traffic conditions within the area. As indicated in our report in various different sections, that a fully functioning synagogue on the property would generate a significantly greater quantity of traffic during the peak hours that we studied. So therefore, based on the analysis that we prepared, there would actually be a lowering in the amount of traffic generated to and from the property on a daily basis if the Jewish Center were to no longer exist on the property and the development that's contemplated here before the board this morning would be constructed. As such, we do not anticipate that there would be any significant deleterious impact on the roadway network as a result of the construction of the 59 residential units. Therefore, it is based on my professional opinion and the analyses that we performed that the board should grant this application, and there will be no significant impacts to traffic conditions as a result of the approval of this project. Thank you. I'm available to answer any questions should the board have any.
Yeah, just so you know, I just want to get my visual here. On you're gonna have two access points, one in Brower, one on Oceanside Road potentially. On Oceanside Road, what are you gonna have at that intersection? Is that a traffic light you were saying? Talk to me.
It's right opposite it's actually at there's an existing driveway that's opposite Bellevue.
And your idea is to have a traffic light installed there?
It's already there.
It is already there.
Yeah, but there's a gate on
Yeah, and looking at it right now. And on the other, on Brower, what's?
That would just be a driveway to Brower, no traffic signal.
Any restriction on the left, right, coming out or anything like that?
No, I don't believe we would need some because I believe the bulk of the traffic will go to the signal on Oceanside, and that just really acts as a relief valve.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, the board? Okay, great. Thank you.
I have one question, please. May I?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's not in relation to the traffic study, but could you please explain to the board the efforts that have been made to reach out to the community in reference to this project?
Yes, Councilwoman. So from the inception of the project, again, approximately 2.5 years ago, the applicants have been having consistent meetings with members of the community, including civic groups and residents. Again, as I had stated earlier, that helped to get us where we are today at 59 units when the project originally started at 90, then reduced to 72, then to 61, and now 59. It also led to the change from rental units to for sale units. And finally, the other major change that was just discussed was the increase from 1 to 2 points of ingress and egress so that there would be flow on each street. That was something that the neighbors that we met with at a community meeting at the Temple last June seemed to think was a better proposition than just having one way in and out. So there's been a good amount of discussion with the community over the period of time that this application's been pending.
Thank you. And what will the price points of the units be?
Mr. Nelson's going to get into that.
Okay.
So he's up next. If it's okay, I'll let him
Of course.
speak.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisor, members of the Town Board. It's Barry Nelson, 220 Pettit Avenue, Belmore, New York.
Happy New Year, Mr. Nelson. No stranger here to the town.
Thank you. Happy New Year to all. So the subject property is a unique parcel in that it's just under 4 acres. The location, as you've heard, Brower Avenue to the east and Oceanside Road to the west. Right opposite the subject property, similar development that was approved for rezoning in 1981, consisting of 42 units on just under 3 acres. 6 buildings, 2-story townhouses. Some of them do have garages, and some of them have open parking. The development just to the north would be retail shopping center, boutique-type stores, parking in front of the stores along Brower Avenue. The single family, there are some non-conforming 2 families in the area, predominantly single family on Oceanside Road and some of the internal streets surrounding the subject property. The proposed development for condominiums would put the property back on the tax rolls. It's currently tax exempt because it's a religious institution. As council mentioned, it's a building with 2 residences that will be removed. It's substantial, a religious institution that just has faded out. The proposed development, as council mentioned, would consist of 14 3-bedrooms and 45 2-bedrooms. The 2 bedrooms are approximately 1,745 square feet. The 3 bedrooms, 2,023 square feet. The estimated selling prices would be for the 2 bedrooms between $750,000 and $800,000. The 3 bedrooms between $850,000 and $900,000. Respective estimated real estate taxes per unit, approximately $13,000 for the 2 bedrooms and $16,000 for the 1 bedrooms. Total real estate taxes that would be estimated generated from the 59 units would be approximately $810,000, of which approximately 70% would go to the school and 30% to general. Right now, the property does not generate any real estate taxes. As far as school-age children for the development, typically condominium units like the subject property, estimated school-age children is less than 20%, closer to about 17%. I looked at the cost per child in the Oceanside district. A single child, there's approximately 5,300 students in the Oceanside School District. In fact, there was a drop of about 33 students from the prior year to the past current year. Nevertheless, $34,150 per student estimated. The subject property, as proposed, would support at least 16.5 children My estimation would be approximately, at best, 11 school-age students within that development. So there will be a surplus to the school districts if approved as estimated by me. The units just to the east of the subject property, townhouses approved 1981, built in 1983. The last unit that sold within that development was approximately $700,000, which would support the estimated selling prices of the new proposal for new dwellings at that location. Single family, for sale, not rentals. Real estate prices in the area for single families are anywhere from $550,000 up to about $1 million. So we fit within the character and pattern of sales prices for the location. I looked at total number of condominium townhouses for sale within the Oceanside district. There are less than 400 units available. In fact, last year there was less than 30 units that were available and sold. So there is a demand, and most of those sold in less than 50 days, typically around 28 days on the market. So there's a decent demand and trend for this type of housing in the location. It will not impact negatively single-family price homes in the area that would be found along Oceanside Road, the internal streets to the west, and residences to the south. Again, just to the east would be the townhouses. They've been there for almost 40 years without any negative impact to the community. The most recent development for townhouses like the subject property was the Pulte Home development, and this is for sale, not rentals. Pulte Homes on Oceanside Road, which was the last development constructed 2008. So it's not a oversaturation for the area. It's a reasonable development for the subject property, considering it's almost 4 acres and has access off of Brower Avenue as well as Oceanside Road. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the board may have of me.
I don't have any questions. All right, thank you very much, Ms. Nelson.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. That's all we have at this point. We're happy to address any questions or comments that might come. Other than that, I would just say that we believe this is a very appropriate proposal for this area and this community. The fact that it will take the property from being exempt to putting it back on the tax rolls is a huge plus, in addition to the housing stock that it will provide for the Oceanside community. So with that, we think this is a great project and are open for any questions or comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Baker, your presentation. We have a number of residents here that are going to get an opportunity to speak. When I call your name, if you just go back to the podium and give your name and address for the record, that'd be great. We will start with Frank Wasenberg. Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Wasenberg. If you just go to the mic and give your name and address for the record, thank you very much.
Forgive me. Frank Wassenberg, 224 Evers Lane, Oceanside. I'm here to voice my objection to the overdevelopment being proposed at this site. The sale of this property has become overcomplicated, and the parties involved are looking for the zoning board to bail them out. One party wants to sell it for too much, and the other party needs to overdevelop the property to make an exorbitant profit on a project that is not needed. The role of this zoning board is to protect the town of Oceanside from this exact situation, not to help two parties facilitate a bad deal that causes damage to the community. This project serves no public good and has no value to the town. Rezoning to allow this project only helps these two parties to the detriment of the residents. There is minimal to zero benefits in turning Oceanside into Queens. As it stands today, as you drive down Brower Avenue, there is already a development that was allowed because it would be just one of the such developments. Now you are considering allowing another that would force the people of Oceanside to drive through a tunnel of shadows caused by these projects. That is not what Oceanside needs, and it's not what Oceanside is asking for. Oceanside is not Queens. Many of the residents of Oceanside have come from the city to avoid this exact situation. We left that massive overdevelopment that was taking place and moved to the suburbs. We pay taxes needed to maintain our neighborhood without slamming 59 units into an area built for 12 to 15 buildings, single-family homes. To allow this would be a betrayal of the public trust by this board and would serve as a model for future overdevelopment, scarring this neighborhood by developers. Again, we are not looking to turn Oceanside into Queens. Beyond that, this part of the town is already slammed with traffic 2 to 3 times per day, and I will be providing a PowerPoint if requested. I have it here with me to the board for consideration that will detail the traffic problems that this will only exacerbate. Accidents due to people trying to get around the traffic have caused telephone poles to be slammed through, cars to drive on people's lawns, and slammed through fences. Sunnyside, Bellevue, and Fairview are virtual raceways at this point in time for people trying to get around traffic. This project dumps potentially another 139 more cars into the area that cannot support it. It puts another 59 families into the smallest school zone of Oceanside, not these macro numbers that they're talking about. School 4 is the smallest school zone in Oceanside. All of these families would go to that one school. Any assertion that traffic will be helped by this is patently false based on the fact that a Jewish center operating at their peak time is a Saturday. So it's kind of comical to make an assertion that this would be helping the town. I would propose any alternate plan for the partnership of the development that would enhance the neighborhood and generate revenue for the town. Rezoning this part of town to create a center for the community that it desperately needs. I would gladly speak to anyone on this. We can find a better use for this land that is not such an uninspired plan to simply dump 59 units and 139 cars into a town to continue to turn Oceanside. If you mark my words, by allowing this to happen, any open parcel of land in Oceanside will use this as a model. Someone will try to overvalue their land, get it rezoned, and allow your board to facilitate that. I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it, and what I would also say is if you'd like to supplement your comments by emailing, the study you were citing, we'd appreciate that. That will be made part of the record. Thank you.
Sure, I have the PowerPoint here. I can email that or give it.
You could submit it right now, but if you want to email it, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
very
will do
much.
both, that's gladly. And I also have a petition signed by almost 350 people as well.
We'll take that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, I have Neil Levitt. Good morning, Mr. Levitt. If you give your name and address for the record.
Yes, hi, good morning. Neil Levitt, 336 West Joaquin Avenue in Oceanside. I'm here to urge you to approve this development. I know that the developers have worked very closely with the community and have made changes so that it could be an addition and a vital addition to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Howard Diamond. Hi, Mr. Diamond. Give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
My name is Rabbi Howard Diamond. I'm currently the rabbi of Oceanside Jewish Center. What else did you ask me?
It's your address, Rabbi, please. Thank you.
My address is 856 West Broadway in Woodmere. A number of years ago, I was involved with the merger and the sale of a synagogue building in Limbrook. That was Beth David. The synagogue then subsequently merged with the synagogue in Rockville Center. Having gone through that and having numerous discussions and numerous people I heard from, I will tell you that it was great for the community. It was great for the people of Beth David Synagogue of Limbrook. It was great for the people of B'nai Shalom Synagogue in Rockville Center. The only person it wasn't great for was me because I was out of a job. But the fact is that it was a positively received situation. It worked well for everyone and anyone. And I see no difference really here in this situation than I saw a number of years ago between those two communities. I therefore would recommend that we go ahead and do this. It's a very positive step for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Next, I have Sean Cirillo. Hi, Mr. Cirillo. If you give me your name and address, please.
Sean Cirillo, 2935 Chester Street, Oceanside. Good morning, members of the board. I'm here in support of the proposed 59-unit townhouse development at the current site of the Oceanside Jewish Center. This is by far the best proposal we've seen for this site, and I commend the developer for being responsive to the community input throughout this process. The estimated cost of these townhouses, approximately $800,000, reflects positive investment in our community and aligns with our housing needs. We must recognize the importance of new housing. Oceanside, like many areas, faces a pressing need for more housing options, and this development is a step in the right direction. Many of the people I grew up with who are forced to move away because they cannot afford a house here any longer. If I did not have the help of a VA home loan and debt-free education via the GI Bill, I too would not be able to call myself a lifelong resident of Oceanside. Even if every one of these 59 units housed 4 residents, the increased Oceanside population would be less than 1%. That's a modest addition to our community, and it's one we can and should accommodate. This addition would also increase our tax base and provide local businesses with more clientele. It's also worth noting that Oceanside School District has experienced a decline in enrollment of roughly 1,000 students since the early 2000s. This development could bring families and children back to our community, helping to ensure the long-term vitality of our schools without coming anywhere near overburdening them. Let's also put our population density in context. Oceanside's current population density of 6,600 residents per square mile is higher than cities like Houston, Portland, Denver, and Las Vegas. We do not live in some small, quiet, idyllic suburb that many people try to pretend it is. We live in a dense suburb with mixed-use developments and everything from single-family houses to large apartment buildings and commercial spaces. That makes this project not an outlier, but a natural fit within our existing landscape. I acknowledge that concerns about traffic, particularly during school pickup and drop-off, are legitimate. However, I believe this issue can be alleviated if the school district takes steps to promote busing, carpooling, walking, and biking, while discourage the current practice of parents dropping off children one by one in their cars. With some effort, this is a solvable problem. I'd also like to see the town embrace alternative forms of transportation to help alleviate traffic congestion across Oceanside and the town as a whole. Like I previously mentioned, our population density and total population mirror cities with robust cycling, walking, and public transportation networks, yet here we have very little of that. Every trip is required to be done with a car, and providing alternatives would relieve pressure on our roads. This development is a thoughtful and much-needed addition to our community, and I would not want to roll the dice to see what would replace this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cirillo. Next, Billy Lindenmeyer. Mr. Baker, is he with you? No? Okay. All right. Next, I have Christopher Voris. Is there? Okay. Ian Brecker. Yep. Hi, Mr. Brecker. If you give me name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
My name is Ian Brecher. My address is 160 Irma Drive, Oceanside. I'm the current president of Oceanside Jewish Center and have been a member there for 38 years. The town's approval of the rezoning of our property is very important to us. We have a declining membership, and it has become too costly to maintain our buildings. We're very impressed with the developer and worked with him on this project for over 3 years. The developers have also met with the community many times to modify the project and help meet their needs. Speaking for myself, our Board of Trustees, and our entire congregation, I voice our support, and we ask you to vote positive on the rezoning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, I have Jeffrey Resnick. Good morning, sir. Your name and address?
Yes, my name is Jeffrey Resnick, and my address is 125 East Broadway in Long Beach. My family has been a resident of Oceanside 42 years, and then 4 years ago, we sold the house and we moved into Long Beach. And my wife's family has been living in Oceanside since 1951, and my brother-in-law still has a house in Oceanside. First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I have been a member of OJC since 1978, and this is literally my second home. I spent many, many hours there working. I was past president 1988 to 1990, and I have served on many different committees over the years, and I'm proud to say that I'm still involved with the temple. As you've heard, we have been losing members over the past number of years, and it's just become impractical for Oceanside Jewish Center to remain on that site. We have been working with the developer for over 3 years, and I find him to be very flexible. After meeting with the general community of Oceanside, changes were made, as you've heard several people talk about. And I think that this is an important step for both Oceanside Jewish Center and for the entire Oceanside community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Resnick. Next, I have Joseph Swinton. Okay, thanks, Mr. Swinton. Thank you. All right. Norman Chan.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Norman.
Morning.
Hold on. My name is Norman Chan. My address is 2876 Sylvan Court in Oceanside. I'm here today to voice my cautious support of this project, but I do have a lot of concerns that remain. My house is located directly to the south of this location, adjacent to this property. My backyard is literally adjacent. When I sit in my backyard on my deck, I look right at the OJC parking lot and to the facility itself. And anything that occurs here will definitely have some significant impacts to my property. I was here a few years ago speaking about concerns regarding a different project that was proposed on this property. And during that meeting, I voiced my preferences at the outcome of this property if anything were to happen there. And my two desired outcomes at the time were that A, either OGC remains there and the property remains as is. They've been great neighbors for many years. Or B, if anything were to occur, it would be single family homes as currently zoned and nothing else. However, if none of these are viable options, as it seemingly has been throughout the years, I feel that this is the next best thing that may occur over there. I commend the developers for setting up public engagement meetings and agreeing to modify the plans based on our concerns, such as transitioning from rental units to for sale units, reduction of the number of units down to 59, and establishing a second means of ingress and egress on Brower Avenue. If approved, I am looking for assurances that due care is taken to mitigate all quality of life concerns to the immediate neighbors during both the construction phase and when the project is fully completed. Immediate concerns such as rodent mitigation. During the excavation phase, rodent activity will definitely increase as the rodents look for other homes in the area. And in addition, we're also looking for other mitigation measures in terms of sight lines and everything else, such as the planting of high growth evergreens along the fence lines to minimize like what we see from our neighboring properties, and other such mitigation measures. Construction, during proper construction times, if there's any pile driving occurring, to minimize impact to the surrounding neighbors once again. Ultimately, I still have a strong degree of apprehension as to how this project would impact the neighborhood, but recognize at this time that something will be developed here eventually. I have become a realist in this matter. However, if something has to occur here, I believe that with proper planning and respect for the community, this project can work. Thank you very much, everyone.
Nice to see you again.
Great to see you too. Thank you, sir.
Next, I have Matthew Leibowitz. Mr. Leibowitz. Wendy Pisateri. Wendy Pisateri. Michael Strong. Address for the record, that'd be great.
Michael Strong, 3241 Skillman Avenue, Oceanside. I'm here to speak on behalf of denying this project. I am a father of four who moved from Queens, New York to this neighborhood to get away from the traffic and everything else that affected me there. I have four kids currently in the Oceanside School District. They're doing great. I really love the neighborhood, but things like this are going to force me to sell my property. Traffic in the area has been awful to begin with. The other day I had to take my daughter for about a quarter mile from my house to physical therapy, passing the area now that is proposed. It took me 17 minutes and 32 seconds. My concern is in an emergency response. In 2016, my daughter Michaela, who's a senior in Oceanside High School, was choking. Her choking, and me as a first responder, I was able to help. Waiting for my wife, she called the ambulance. Waiting for them to get there, they got there in under 5 minutes. I am sure there is fire plans in place as far as hydrant locations and for the safety of that area, but I want to know what's going to help with the response times of the emergency vehicles getting to locations in the neighborhood. For instance, if my father is by my house, he is elderly, and what's going to help his response time for ambulances responding if, God forbid, he needs CPR. Minutes save lives. In regards to the schools, 2 years ago, my son's year in school 3, they were trying to add another classroom with no space to do so due to the overpopulation of kids in that school. They actually had to overload 2 of the classrooms and could not add a third. So I don't see how adding these units will help or alleviate the situation. Currently, this community lacks in stuff for children and teens now. That area can be useful for something that would help the community, as they did with the current library that is there now, that seems to be doing well. This is nowhere near location to public transportation. The train is probably 1.5 miles away, which means these people will have cars. Parking on the streets, I understand that there are parking spots involved in this. I did see the plans. But parking on the streets, and currently with the hospital parking that's already affecting the neighborhood, I don't see how this will alleviate anything. Safety of kids leaving the school area. The entrance on Brower Avenue, you probably have 300, 400 kids that walk past that in the morning going to school and coming out from school. So I don't see how the entranceway there can suffice without a traffic light, even with a traffic light, which means crossing guards, et cetera, will need to be staffed. In listening to those who spoke today on behalf of this project, they seem to be part of the sale of the project in somehow or some way. Also seems that most that have spoken live on the other side of town. This is right in my backyard. I please ask that you deny this project.
Thanks, Mr. Strong. Mr. Strong, you said you have a senior?
Say that again?
You have a senior at the high school?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what she's doing yet next year?
I'm
in the same boat, so we're like in a kind of a waiting kind of period right now in your life?
Yeah, maybe they could take some of the money from the project and help me pay for college.
There you go. Take care. Thank you very much. All right. Arthur Orzano? Good morning, sir. If you give your name and address to the record. Thank you.
Good morning. Arthur Orzano, 58 Vernon Avenue in Rockville Center.
Yes, sir.
So, I wasn't planning on speaking today, but I just heard just recently some of the controversy about this purchase and development of this property. First of all, I have no vested interest in this property, no financial interest. It's more of an emotional thing. I've lived in Oceanside all my life. My family immigrated from Italy to Oceanside at the turn of the century. Many buildings, many houses were built by my family. When I think of the idea of the Oceanside Jewish Center being sold, it saddens me. It saddened me because a lot of my Jewish friends, I've had parties at that temple, went to many affairs, bar mitzvahs. I can't tell you how many times I've walked past that temple as a kid going to elementary school and to the middle school on Merrill Avenue. I know the area very well. And the idea of the area turning into Queens, I think that train's already left the station for Nassau County. However, I do have a deep emotional attachment to Oceanside. I lived on Benjamin Road most of my life. And back in the 50s, 53, I think it was when we moved there. But I'm for this project. I think it's a smart thing to do. You're allowing a developer who has a feeling for this area and its ambiance, its feeling of community. Think of it this way too. What if someone else develops that property, like the hospital? When the hospital goes ahead and starts buying property, hang on to your hat. You're worried about traffic? Where do you see what happens with that event? Or how about, I don't know, low-income housing? You want to see traffic then? And it's rentals. Here you're talking about building good facilities, housing, $800,000, I think the word was. I don't know how these kids can even afford that, but some of these $2 million houses, our youth is going to be leaving Long Island if we don't do something to make sure that they stay here. This is a close way of doing that. Building this housing for $800,000, I think we can attract some youth to there. And not to mention the taxes we're going to save with the school taxes and the real estate taxes you'll gain because you had this wonderful religious organization not paying any taxes, which is fine. But now this organization will be paying taxes. Think about that.
Thank you very much, Rosanna. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, and thank you. Happy
Next,
New Year,
we have
everybody.
Joel Cutler. Mr.
Morning.
Cutler, if you give your name and address, thank you.
My name is Joel Cutler, 515 East Penn Street, Long Beach, New York, and thank you for the opportunity given to speak today. I'm a former president of Oceanside Jewish Center and a member for over 36 years. OJC has been at the Brower Avenue location in Oceanside for over 75 years since its establishment in 1947. We saw our membership grow at its height to over 800 members and 500 members in our Hebrew school and over 200 members, children in our nursery school, only to see it decrease in the last 25 years to a current 100 members. At the beginning of COVID, we were also forced to close our Hebrew school and our nursery school. We acknowledge that other houses of worship in the South Shore and Long Island as a whole, including many temples, have experienced this type of decline. Recognizing the significant decrease in the OJC membership and its ability to sustain vibrant, engaging prayer, educational, and social programming for its members, its leadership started over 10 years ago looking for viable alternatives. Our 40,000 plus square foot building is simply too large for its current membership that is continuing to decline and increasingly need for repairs and upgrades. We strongly believe that this approval and completion of this proposed project will allow OJC to set a path for its future. Approving this development will also be a positive addition to the community. We believe that compared to other development uses for the property, the establishment of this townhouse project will return property to the tax rolls. Therefore, we fully support and respectfully request for the approval of the application for this proposed project. Thank you very much for the time this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Cutler. Next, I have Anu Kikas. Good morning. If you could give
Good
your name and
morning.
address. Could someone just kind of lower the mic? It kind of is like belting her in the head.
Uh,
Thank you very much. They got it done
Is
yourself.
that better?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anu Kikas, and I live in Oceanside since 1955. The community has fought over development. This is our third time. So we don't object to homes being built there. It's just the magnitude of what is being offered. Fieldstone has given us the dimensions of the 3-bedroom units and the 2-bedroom units. But I wonder what percentage of the land, the tract is, I think, 4.3 acres. And to me, it looks like it's like 50% of the land is the townhouses. What percentage then do we have left over for parking? What percentage do we have left over for roadway access and entrance? What about the garbage disposal unit? That'll be squished in somewhere. And greenery for each of these developments, these units, it's going to be like 2 or 3% because they have so many units, 59. That's excessive in many community members who live on Pine Street and Bellevue and Fairview. Those are all lengthy roads. They're almost a quarter of a mile. And some of my members have talked about traffic. I have seen 2 cars flip over onto their hoods. Traffic is horrendous. And I don't know, it's obvious that a development of 59 units is going to impact the traffic adversely. And also, Fieldstone has said that these will be ownership units. We would like confirmation of that, some kind of assurance that they will not become rental units, that they will stay ownership. I don't think that's listed in the documents, just as like they don't really tell you what will this 4 acres of land look like with these townhouses that are 2 stories high and two bathrooms and 3 bedrooms on some of them. So many of my neighbors are against this development, and
Thank you, Ms.
thank you for the opportunity for.
Thank you very much for coming down, and I appreciate your points. And I know that the applicants are writing them down diligently to see if they can give a response to it. But thank you very much for coming down. Next, I have Jolene Bowden. Hi, Ms. Bowden. If you give your name and address for the record.
My name is Jolene Bowden. My address is 193 Vermont Avenue, Oceanside. I thank you for the opportunity for us to share our thoughts. I am a past president of Oceanside Jewish Center. It has been my spiritual home for over 35 years. And it's heartbreaking that this is what we have to do. But as you've heard from other people, our membership went down and the synagogue is no longer able to sustain itself. I want to respond a little to some of the comments I've heard today. First of all, I'll say change is hard. Everybody wishes that we didn't have to change, but we need to find a solution to this situation because Oceanside Jewish Center is going away. In one way or another, Oceanside Jewish Center will no longer be there. There was a comment made about the only time that there's traffic would have been on Saturdays, And I just want to call the attention to the fact that when my kids were young and we had 350 children in our religious school, every day at 4 o'clock and every day at 6 o'clock, there were hundreds of cars picking up their children. So it wasn't just once a week that this impacted. I also want to state another point, which is that at this present time, anybody who owns a home in Oceanside and no longer wants to or is able to keep it up, they can't shovel snow, they can't do all these things, they are forced, if they want to downsize, to move to Rockville Center or to Long Beach. This would give an opportunity for people who want to stay in Oceanside to be able to do that and still give up the responsibilities that make it difficult to be a homeowner. So I thank you. I hope that you will consider all of the points that we've made and help support this project.
Thank you, Ms. Bowden. Okay. I do not have any other slips from the public. Is there anybody else that wishes to be heard that did not sign in? Okay. Mr. Baker, if you wanted to have a few comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. In no particular order, and thank you to Mrs. Bowden because she hit one of the comments that I was going to address, which had to do with the use of the temple simply on Saturdays. And as she eloquently stated, and I will add, when any synagogue is operating on all cylinders, much like any religious institution that could be there are not just services that might be on Saturday. It could be nursery school, religious education, events that in this case could be bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings, all kinds of different things that occur and go on a daily basis. So as Mr. Muller had stated earlier, this is, when going full steam, a much more intense use as a temple than it would be as the proposed 59 townhome units. Looking at some of the other comments, and as far as traffic goes, I'll let Mr. Muller's previous statements and his report speak to the comments that were made. I don't think there was anything really specified. They were really general type of comments, but I think he hit all of that. That one. Mr. Chan made some comments, and I believe we spoke at the community meeting and appreciated his comments and his experience with the several projects that have come before us.
I remember him coming in last.
Yeah, and this one as well. And we had some really nice conversations back then, and we appreciate what he had to say. Certainly, the developer will adhere to all of the required mitigation measures during construction, whether it comes to dust or noise or any of those things. But in addition, setting up an appropriate and nice to look at perimeter fencing, evergreens, and all of the good things that will be, good neighborly gestures.
How about in particular how about Mrs. Kikas if she talked about garbage pickup?
Yeah, I was getting there. So twice a week, there'll be private garbage coming in and out, and the dumpster is located. In fact, I think that was relocated to a more interior location from one of the original plans based on comments and discussions we had with the building department and members of engineering. So that's been addressed, and we believe that's the best scenario there.
So, some people, I think, initially thought this was a straight rental, but they're co-ops.
That is, no, condo, but
Condo,
absolutely correct that they will be for sale units, and we are certainly willing to stand by that. And
She raised about restrictions on rental or anything like that, or?
yeah, certainly any reasonable conditions or covenants that we would normally put in place for a project like this, we're happy to discuss going forward.
Okay. Councilwoman, you have any? Okay. Let me ask the town attorney in particular. Mr. Town Attorney, did we get anything from the Planning Commission?
We did not, Mr. Supervisor. So I'd ask that this hearing be held open for written comments until the next town board meeting.
Okay. So why don't we fairly say what we do, keep it open at least for 30 days. So that would be, because the next board meeting's what?
21st. The next one's the 21st.
Why don't we circle like the February 4th? Keep it on for the February 4th meeting?
That's fine.
I think it's a little fair to keep it on a little longer. So with that, thank you, Mr. Baker. Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you very much. We appreciate all the comments that were made both in favor and against. We do think this is a good and the best project for this site and under the circumstances. Again, sadly, what is happening with the state of, synagogues and other religious uses, but this does seem like a win for everybody, we hope.
Okay. All right. Then can I have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I'm going to make a motion that we reserve decision on this matter.
Okay. Just so the residents are clarified, that means there's been no yay or nay vote on this. In addition, the town attorney has indicated that we have not received a communication from the Planning Commission. So before any consideration of any vote whatsoever, we would want to get some kind of response from the county. So with that, can I get a second on the councilwoman's motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Supervisor, to be clear, because we want it to be part of the record, their response, the motion should be that the hearing will be held open until February 4th.
Second. Okay, February 4th. Okay, so I'd make the motion to keep it open until February 4th?
Yeah, I make a motion to keep it open until February 4th. Thank you.
The motion.
Okay.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
I want to thank all the residents that came in for or against it. You were incredibly pleasant, and I wish you all a Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Mr. Baker, for your presentation.
Yes, thank you all again, and Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year. Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
Yes, on the administrative calendar, we have items 10 through 43.
Any member of the board wish to be heard in the administrative calendar? I do not have any slips in the administrative calendar. Anybody wish to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion? Laura?
Okay, all right.
I make a motion that we adopt the administrative calendar.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Okay, now that the town of Hempstead formal meeting is over, the town board will make you listen to the comments of residents. We have a couple of residents who came in. We'll start with Christopher Crane. Christopher Crane, I apologize. If you give a name and address, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, Supervisor Clavin and honorable members. My name is Christopher Crane. I reside at 164 Harrison Avenue, Franklin Square. My wife, Elena Carrillo, and I live there. We provided a letter with a photograph and some backup materials. It should be in your packets. And we come to you to seek your assistance. As background, our neighbor Wilbur Argueta at 164 Harrison Avenue constructed a large outdoor wood-burning fireplace. And unfortunately, it's constructed in a way that produces a lot of smoke. And you will see in the photograph, in the materials, there's a volume of smoke that's emitted. And unfortunately for us, we are next to this neighbor, and the smoke comes onto our property and comes into our home and has really impacted our lives and affected my wife's health. So we suffered with this for some time. We were unsuccessful in getting the owner to curtail his fire. We eventually brought this to the attention of code enforcement, and we were very thankful that code enforcement responded at that time and issued violations. Nevertheless, the neighbor sought to maintain the structure, and the plan examiner approved plans for this structure. I don't believe that the plans conform with town code. I'm a professional engineer. I'm also an attorney. I brought this to the attention of then Commissioner Jowitz, but he didn't see a need to revise the plans. We then appealed this to the Board of Appeals and presented detailed information, but the Board of Appeals decided that matters of code compliance and building code compliance were not in their jurisdiction. So we needed to go back to the building department to address our concerns. My wife came and actually brought this to your attention at the June meeting, and you kindly directed her to the building officers, who were very cordial, but that was the last time we spoke with them. And for the last 6 months, almost 7 months, we've been unable to meet with the building department to express our concerns and to hear how this structure complied with code. Unfortunately, 3 weeks ago, the Deputy Commissioner issued a certificate of compliance. So now this is a permanent structure that this owner can operate without condition or restriction, and successive owners as well. And just a few weeks ago, we again experienced smoke coming into our home. So my first request, our request, is that you help us to meet with the building department so we can hear how the department is going to enforce code provisions on smoke. That would be very useful to us and helpful to us. There are code provisions against dense smoke and emissions. We also request that you revise the code to prohibit or limit these structures. And my wife will speak shortly. Thank you.
Mr. Crane, this is Danny Leo. He's the acting commissioner, and he's going to, after your wife has completed speaking, take the time to sit with you and discuss with you the matter, and you can do a follow-up, and we'll follow up with him on the recommendations and the discussion. Fair enough?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You said your wife is going to speak?
My wife, Elena, signed up to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you just give your name and address for the record.
Elena Carrillo, 168 Harrison Avenue, Franklin Square, New York.
Gotcha.
Again, our neighbor had built multiple structures on his undersized 40-foot property next to our undersized 40-foot property where I've lived for 35 years. I've had to go to the hospital on 3 different occasions. I'm still on monthly treatment for pulmonary issues because of exposure to the smoke. The volume cannot be contained on his property. It's absolutely impossible. It's about 15 feet away. We've had to leave on multiple occasions. It's very distressing to not be able to use the outside or inside of your property. I also have issues with the process because in April of 2023, when the permit was issued, we spoke and we called to Mr. Joseph Camarata, who was a plans examiner, and he basically, I don't know what his qualifications are, but we said it doesn't match the survey that's attached. We don't see the plot plan. My husband's a professional engineer and an attorney. I'm not, but I can look at inconsistencies and I can do math and I can see that these were faulty representations. However, they were put through and Mr. Camarata canceled the meeting with us, and then he said, well, it's not up to me. We can approve it, and we get 18 to 20,000 applications a year. We can't be expected to look at all of them and do a full examination. As a member of the public, this is completely unacceptable. From there, we were stonewalled. We never got an answer from anyone at the building department. On June 4th, I'm having deja vu because Mr. Leo walked me outside, gave me his personal card. Mr. Lipinski was there. It's almost 7 months and nothing, no matter how much we try, no matter how much we reach out. So my health is at stake. I can't live in my own home. There's no environmental committee. I know this town in North Hempstead has one. I don't know why we don't, as the largest township in the United States, why there is nothing overseeing this. I really don't understand that. Now, we are now in a position where the town has basically told us, if you're unhappy with it, get a private action and sue. We've hired attorneys, and I don't see why, as residents, we have to live with our smoke detectors getting set off, me being chronically ill because someone else built something and the complete documentation is completely faulty. And I can't stress that enough. And that no one has heard us out to give us any time at all to sit down with a professional engineer or a registered architect, even though their own application says that's what's supposed to be done. And we have, as citizens, been completely denied any kind of due process, any kind of communication, any kind of transparency. I think that just because we don't live in an incorporated village where you have the luxury, which a lot of people maybe here do, we don't have that. We just live in regular town of Hempstead. We depend on you for our safety. I've had lit and burning embers landing on my garage, and I have had to live with this where my pets have been injured, my home has been injured, and I'm still undergoing monthly treatment from the exposure that happened 2 years ago. I think you need to act.
What I'm going to do is not only ask Mr. Leo to meet, I'm going to ask the town attorney to join the conversation to get a breakdown so you can provide us with a follow-up. So after the meeting, if you'd, Mr. Town Attorney and Mr. Leo, if you'd join them in the back, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Maybe the town engineer.
Well, I'll direct the Mr. Leo and the town attorney right there. Thank you very much. John, I'm sorry, Ray O'Rourke. Hi, if you give your name and address for the record.
My name is Ray Aurora. My address is 3712 Terrapin Place in Seaford. Mr. Supervisor Board, Happy New Year. And I give you credit, Mr. Supervisor, for honoring our 39th president. Everybody knows he was a terrible president, but he was a good guy, and I'm not sure what's wrong with our county executive. I'm also with you, Supervisor, on this lawsuit against congestion pricing, which is just another tax. On the one hand, the governor talks about affordability, and on the other hand, she slams us every single day. I mean, she's the worst. I hope she gets voted out. But my question is, concerning the lawsuit, is it incumbent upon the town of Hempstead to bear the cost of the lawsuit ourselves? Is there any hope that that cost can be shared by other towns?
I can't speak on pending litigation, but I know there are a number of other entities that are contemplating, helping us with the burden, and we will see. And we could also ask for costs back from the other side as well.
Are you handling that lawsuit, sir, with just our town attorney, or are you using outside counsel?
No, we have outside counsel on that.
So if we win that lawsuit, there's a chance that we would be reimbursed?
Anything's possible.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have John DiLeonardo. Good morning. Your name and address of the record.
Hi, John DiLeonardo from Riverhead, New York. My name is John DiLeonardo. I am an anthrozoologist and executive director of Humane Long Island. Since I last spoke about Goldman Animal Alliance's ties to notorious animal abusers, Humane Long Island has uncovered more serious deficiencies in Goldman's application to privatize the town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. Camilo Sierra is listed as an advisory board member for Goldman. Sierra is a veterinarian who is sanctioned at least 7 times and had his veterinary license suspended twice by the New York State Gaming Commission for, among other things, drugging racehorses he never examined and falsifying health certificates. He served a 2-year stage suspension by the New York State Board of Regents. Sierra is also the veterinarian for Larry Wallach's sloth encounters. He is shown in a video with Wallach as Wallach electroshocks a tiger cub and threatens a dog with an electric prod. Sierra is a veterinarian for New York City's controversial and notorious horse-run carriage industry. Investigators have routinely documented neglect and abuse of the horses used in the industry, and a bill is pending in the New York State City Council to shut down the industry because of its unsafe practices and mistreatment of horses. Matty Giuliano is listed as an advisory board member as well. Giuliano is a retired animal cruelty investigator who previously worked in New Jersey. Giuliano worked for the New Jersey SPCA, an organization so deficient in its ability to care for animals and investigate animal cruelty that the entire SPCA was closed down through state legislation signed by the governor of New Jersey. He now works for Monmouth County SPCA, which was the subject of 2 2024 investigations after employees reported that its director abused employees and ordered unnecessary euthanasias. Grace DeVita is listed as a reference in the application as well. DeVita is the executive director of Second Chance Animal Rescue of Copeg, which has twice had its nonprofit status revoked for failing to file its required IRS 990 tax forms. The application submitted to the town states that Kaufman, a board member, runs an animal shelter. However, a search of New York State Agricultural and Markets database reveals that his organization is not registered as an animal shelter. Registration is a legal requirement. 3 other rescues listed in the application as being associated with Than Dang, another board member, are also not registered. As stewards of the shelter and the residents of Town of Hempstead, including the town's animals, you have a duty to ensure that the entity chosen to run the shelter is both fiscally responsible and has a documented history of caring for animals. We respectfully request that you consider the information we provided, conduct your own investigation, and take the appropriate steps to ensure that the shelter is acquired only by financially responsible individuals not associated with animal cruelty or wildlife trafficking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hillary Faladin? Good morning. Your name and address of the record, please.
Good morning. Hillary Flanagan, Belmore, New York. Good morning, Supervisor and board members. I have thought long and hard based on the last meeting and feedback that you gave. Again, I'm here to oppose any privatization of the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter in conjunction with Golden Animal Alliance, to which has been more than proven why they should not be considered as being not fiscally responsible and its members having no qualifications to do so. At no point has any of us communicated with you in any negative way. I don't come here, and no one comes here as a threat or is meant with anger in any way whatsoever. We just cannot, in good conscience, when we get no other responses from you, to come to this meeting. Councilwoman Miller, last meeting you had discussed that we didn't think that you cared. I know that you care. You came to the shelter and spent hours with me there, and we had a wonderful time together. You know, you pet one of the cats that still can't be pet like that. And we were very grateful for the time that you spent with us. Supervisor Clavin, when you came with the Martin Brothers Customs to the shelter prior to the car show, your excitement was contagious, as well as your welcoming the photographer who also highlighted our animals who was there. As a side note, I was sorry to hear that you had to file a police report that you mentioned in the last meeting, and I had to do the same because I was threatened with physical harm, and my family was as well. We were defamed, and it warranted a meeting with the town of Hempstead representatives, and at that meeting, it was relayed with concrete proof that destructive relationships and inappropriate behavior by outside persons is being done. When a community member with over 100,000 followers who wanted to help the shelter received a creepy message, in her words, to deter her to come to the shelter to help us. We have other outside organizations. We have over 5 that want to come to help us with the shelter over the next few months. I'm hoping they do not receive those messages. We do not advertise it for that point. Councilman Scheider, the time you took recently at the shelter to meet with so many of us shows your interest, and we were overwhelmed with your kindness. We very much hope to continue, and we welcome it. There are no personality conflicts within the staff and volunteers, and we have all been getting together and working together to make it a better place. And there's no conflicting statements between myself and some of the other volunteers. The shelter staff has done an incredible job. They work at 150%. And yes, we do need more staffing, and we do need more qualified staffing, but that does not take away from the work that they do. So simply stated, no one doesn't think any of you care. We all think you care. We are providing reasoning why the shelter should not be privatized with Golden Animal Alliance, which we've sent much information to the Chief of Staff. And the shelter needs more qualified full-time staff earning a living wage. We thank you for your time and consideration, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Ms. Flanagan. Next, I have Francesca Zaldivar. Hi, good morning. If you give your name and address for the record.
Hi, Francesca Zaldivar from Huntington, New York. Good morning. I want to take a moment to thank you, Supervisor Clavin. It's my understanding that after the last meeting, you took swift action to address the issue with the water dispenser at the animal shelter, and I am very grateful to hear it is being fixed. I stand before you again to voice my concern regarding the privatization bid by Goldman Animal Alliance. I still feel very strongly that accepting this bid would be detrimental to the welfare of the animals under the town's care, and I'm asking you as a dedicated volunteer to please reject this bid. At the last meeting, I brought up behavioral euthanasia and asked for the process to be streamlined so dogs that are being put to sleep don't suffer unnecessarily. My comments were taken out of context and posted online in order to create controversy. Ironically, the person who made the post is the same person whose name is on dozens of foiled euthanasia records, some of which I read aloud at a board meeting a year or so ago. A person who insinuated themselves into a position of power at the shelter despite having no certifications, no formal training, and no employment by the town. Reading a youth command for a dog that was deemed unadoptable because it had the appearance of being a yard dog and it dirtied its water bowl is something I'll never forget. It's come to my attention that this person has a vested interest in this bid going through because they've been promised a position at the shelter by Goldman Animal Alliance. Please, this is just one more reason to reject this bid once and for all. What I'd love more than anything, aside from more staff and a new facility, is an open dialogue with the board regarding shelter conditions and concerns. The people I volunteer with aren't going to come to a town meeting to be heard. Most have full-time jobs and would rather spend any extra time they have with the animals. Our volunteers come from many different backgrounds. We have law enforcement, nurses, teachers, business owners, and veterans, just to name a few. Aside from the staff, these are the people who deserve your ear when it comes to the shelter. I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy New Year. Next, I have Michelle Oder. Good morning. Your name and address for the record?
Yes, hi, good morning. Happy New Year. Michelle Oder, 757 Bixby Drive, Baldwin, New York. I'm here today on behalf of myself and residents in the Baldwin community to again address the proposed project at 2283 Grand Avenue in Baldwin. As you know, and I say I represent people of Baldwin, a petition is circulating around Baldwin, and so far these are the signatures that we have obtained, and we continue to obtain signatures, which we're really glad to submit to the town board. As you are aware, the developer of this project, Greg DeRosa and G2D Development, are currently embroiled in multiple lawsuits for fraud, money laundering, breach of contract, misrepresentation, and setting up what has been described as a Ponzi land scheme throughout Long Island. All of this information is readily available on the New York Unified Court System. I have with me just some of the papers that I have printed of the multiple lawsuits that they are facing right now. The concern is that this developer is a fraudulent developer. By keeping all of their legal and accounting functions in-house, they had an in-house attorney, Philip Foote. They were successfully able to manipulate and falsify the flow of information and documents to investors and stakeholders. The allegations suggest that their illegal activities, and especially their Ponzi scheme setup, were already in full swing when Greg DeRosa and Philip Foote stood at this podium in front of this town board unknowingly to everyone here that they had a Ponzi scheme set up and in place, ready to go. Okay? So on October 3rd, 2023, they stood here and proposed this wonderful development for Baldwin, and it was all a fraud. So this raises serious questions about whether this project was ever intended to go forward in good faith, or was it just simply another ploy on the behalf of these two developers, the developer and his attorney rather, to defraud investors and stakeholders. To date, millions of dollars of investor monies are gone. They're missing. Nobody can account for them. I please challenge you to go read the summons and complaints and all the lawsuits that he's facing. Here's another court date coming up in 2 weeks. He has 20 lawsuits that are coming down the pike. So, given these alarming and serious allegations, it is prudent that the town, considering that this project cannot be trusted to proceed to go forward, it has to be considered that everything that Greg DeRosa submitted to this board has to be fraudulent in some way or another. It would be unconscionable to either transfer this project, sell it, or otherwise move forward with it. So we respectfully demand or request that the town board terminate this project in its entirety.
Thank you, Ms. Oder. Hey, Mr. Town Attorney, what's the status of that project?
It's on hold now. We're aware of the allegations. We've investigated them. It's right now nothing is happening with regard to the project.
Okay. All right. Next, I have Florence Taylor. Florence Taylor? Okay. I don't have any other slips. Is there anybody else who wishes to be heard that did not sign in? Sorry, you can start with you right there. Well, you technically get good afternoon. So what time?
Yes.
Your name and address? Thank you.
My name is Joseph Hopke. I live in North Belmore for the past 42 years. I'm against that privatization of the shelter. But the one thing I want to bring up that no one even mentions, has anybody come up here to say that this is the greatest thing in the world? I mean, nobody. No. Nobody. We don't have the people that are bidding on it. We don't have neighbors coming up saying, oh my God, privatization, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be awesome. There isn't anybody. I mean, just think about that. What a great thing this must be if nobody is up here saying that it's terrific. That's it. Thank you.
All right. You have a great day. Yes. Your name and address when you come up to the podium. Thank you.
Good Good afternoon. Happy New Year. I just wanted to comment.
You got to give your name and address, Ms. Madden.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. Thank you, Supervisor. I'd like to comment on some of the people that are insinuating records that are posted on the internet. They are not here that long, apparently, because I filed a lawsuit against the town for chilling my freedom of speech. And it was discovered through the district attorney's office in Nassau County that those records were tampered with. I never had access to making such decisions, and I certainly didn't have access to records. So people should be really careful, especially with the allegations that are being made in the past month or so. Because even when you don't use my name, people know who you're talking about, and you better make sure those are accurate records. I'd like to thank the board for returning, especially you, Supervisor Clavin, the 4 dogs, Lenny, Wally, Dexter, and Tucker. I ask that you please promote those dogs, rehabilitate those dogs. I believe a proposal was sent to you or will be, Supervisor Clavin, for you to consider. And most of all, regardless of your decision or investigation regarding the privatization, let me add that the reason that the board considers privatization is because they've acknowledged, not buried like other administrations, they've acknowledged the injuries, the lawsuits, the lack of experts, the mismanagement at times, and the wasteful spending. So that is why we're here talking about privatization, and I ask that whether you move forward with it or not, whether you move forward with another effort, that you do something. There's a lot of people that would like this shelter to stay the same because for some reason they took on the role to try to fix the shelter, and if you ask and you meet with any of the staff, they will let you know what they need. No one really needs to speak for them. As regarding the streamlining euthanasia, there's really no other way to put that. When you have people that are not pointing out how to avoid euthanasia and the need for a full-time accredited trainer, well, at the moment I think you have someone there 2 days, one person. Yeah, I guess you have to look at streamline euthanasia, but by what analysis? Is it the analysis that it's always the non-favorites? Because that certainly seems to be the pattern. The favorite dogs that have caused people to have hand surgery are not on that euthanasia list. And I'm not going to suggest that I should be making that determination. That should be up to professionals. So again, whatever your decisions are, please make sure that you bring in full-time, non-political, highly accredited experts into that animal shelter as soon as possible. You brought in the best people, Supervisor. With your administration, I ask you to do that at the same at the shelter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Anybody else wish to be heard? If that, Happy New Year and enjoy the rest.